Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kim. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss all the upcoming videos. I give out great advice for college students and medical students. Today, I'm going to be going over my most asked question, which is how to use Anki, how should you start, and why should you use it? If you don't know what Anki is and this is your first time hearing it, make sure you also check out my study tips video. I talk about Anki and why it's so important in that video because not only does Anki use active recall, but it also uses spaced repetition. So we're going to go over why those two things are so important and how you could use Anki to achieve them. Let's get into it. Active recall is the method of taking information from your brain, testing yourself, and not looking at notes to be able to answer it. Research has shown time and time again that this is the most effective way to study and that you will remember things so much longer if you're using active recall. Paired with spaced repetition is about as effective as you're going to get study-wise. You're going to remember things longer and you will hopefully pretty much never forget them. How does Anki use active recall and spaced repetition? Well, flashcards pretty much always use active recall as long as you're not cheating and turning them over before you actually answer them. You're achieving active recall right there. But what makes Anki so special and what puts it above Quizlet or any other flashcard app that I've ever used is that it actually creates a study schedule for you. I'm going to show you what I mean and how the cards do this in action in a minute, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. But what Anki does is it takes a card and when you first start using it, it'll space it out based on how well you know it. You rank the card. You'll either see it again in 25 minutes, see it in a day, or see it in 4 days. And then after those 4 days, if you keep getting it right, it creates a schedule for you. So you might not see that card again for 2 months, but 2 months later when you see that card, it'll test, do you still remember it? And if not, you'll start seeing it again. It'll be in the rotation. And then all of a sudden, by the time you get to finals or your step exams or your board exams, you know so much more than you even realize because along the way you were reviewing it properly, and that is the beauty of Anki. So let's get into different card types, what card type's my personal favorite, and a basic tutorial on how to use Anki. Starting off with a fresh profile, you're going to create a deck down at the bottom. You can name this whatever you want. I recommend naming it the class that you're making it for. Then you're going to add cards up at the top. There's 3 different options that I want to go over. The first one is basic. This is your typical card, the one that you're going to see like on Quizlet or any other flashcard type app. Next up are closed deletions. These are my favorite cards of all time. You could just take one word or phrase and X it out. You'll see this in action when I do the cards for you guys in a minute. And then finally, you have the typing card where you could type out your answer. I don't really use these, but some people seem to really like them. Here's the basic card in action, closed deletion. You'll see what I mean here by the X'd out word. And then here's me typing out the answer to the type card. So these are your 3 most basic cards. This is what I recommend starting out with when you first get Anki. And here I am showing you how to bury a note or suspend a note. If I do a more in-depth tutorial, I'll go over what those really do. But if you're going to be using pre-made decks, those are super helpful. Showing you to put a deck within a deck. This is helpful for tests because I like to create a test deck and then put it within the class. You'll see me doing that here. I also highly recommend making an Anki web account. This way you could upload them and sync them on all devices that you choose to use Anki. Finally, here's me showing you what cards look like in action. So here's a new card. You will see at the bottom it has 25 minutes, 19 hours, and then 4 days depending how well I know it. When you've done a card before, you'll see this 30 minutes, 3 days, 7 days, and 15 days. And then as you continue to do them and it spaces out more, you'll see something like this where you could go months in between seeing a card.